All right, class. Today we did a lot of work on fractions and repeating decimals and trying to understand rational numbers and irrational numbers. And we had to take a little bit of a break from the excessive speed that we were traveling through this curriculum. And I want us to take a little bit of time to make sure that we're all on the same page. We had one homework problem tonight, and that was to take 29 over 30 and rewrite it as a fraction. Let's say that again. To take 29 over 30 and rewrite it as a decimal. Get that decimal and then work that out and see if we can get back to fraction form. So let's try that right here. 29 over 30. As discussed in class, fractions mean division. And the top number and the bottom number have their own place within this. 29 is the top number, the numerator, and it's going to go inside the box. 29 divided by 30. 29 is less than 30, so we know it's not going to equal 1 or something greater than 1. It's less than 1. 30 cannot go into 29, so we put a 0 on top. Then we put a decimal point, and then we bring a 0 down below. And now we're going to try to see how many times does 30 go into 290. 30 times 10 equals 300. 300 is greater than 290, so I can't use that. So let's use the next number down, which would be 9. 30 times 9 equals 270, and that's less than 290, so we're going to use that. 9 times 30 is 270. And now we're going to subtract 290, take away 270, gives us a difference of 20. Add a 0, bring it down. Now my job is to see how many times can 30 go into 200. Well, if I want to look at smaller numbers of this, I can see, well, how many times does 3 go into 20? Well, I know 3 times 7 equals 21, so I'm going to use the number less than 7. So I'm going to use 6. 3 times 6 equals 18. And now if I'm doing numbers with zeros at the end, such as 30, 30 times 6 is going to equal just like our 18, but with a 0 at the end. It's going to move that decimal point over to get us 180. So 6 times 30 equals 180. Subtract, and we get a difference of 20. Add a 0, bring it down. 30 goes into 200 6 times. And now I'm finding a pattern that I'm going to keep getting 20 at the end. So my pattern and my decimal is going to be 0.96 with the repeating bar on top of the 6. So 29 over 30 is equal to 0.96 with the repeating 6. So that's step 1 for tonight's homework. Step 2 is to now take it from here and get back to 29 over 30. See all this? Make sure you got that. Always hit pause later on. All right, 0. Let's make sure on screen, 96 repeating. Step number 1 was to set this equal to x. X equals 0.96 repeating over the 6. And now I want to move this decimal point right before the repeating portion begins within this decimal. So I just need to come right over here, one spot. To move the decimal point one spot to the right, we multiply by 10. Another way to do that, we'll talk about that when we're dealing with this. So let's multiply both sides by 10. Keep moving here. 10x equals 9.6 repeating. Now, what I was trying to get to is another way to do this is to multiply by 100 in one shot. but I need this right here. I need this portion. I'll just lightly highlight it. I need this for the subtraction part coming up. So now 10x equals 9.6 repeating. I'll erase this, that way it doesn't look like too much on your computer screen or your phones or what you got. So I need to move this decimal point one more spot. I want one set of this pattern to the left of that decimal point. And since we only have one number underneath the repeating bar, we're going to multiply times that 1 for the power for the 10. 10 to the first power. 10 to the first power is still 10. 10 times 10, 100. Equals 96. Move that decimal point that one spot. But we still have a decimal point, and we have more of those repeating 6s laying out there. So now we got 100x equals 96.6 repeating. And from here, I need to subtract out something with that repeating decimal. And that's why I had this sectioned off earlier. The 10x equals 9.6 repeating. I need to subtract that from both sides to get rid of this repeating stuff. It's too much. I can't make a nice fraction like this with things repeating. So I'm going to subtract 10x from this side, and from the other side, subtract 9.6 repeating. 100 minus 10 is 90. 90x. Over here, our 0.6's cancel. 96 minus 9 is 87. Now I realize we're getting kind of low here, so I'll try to tilt the little camera down a little bit. Let's see. A little bit better. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 90. That way we get rid of this coefficient in front of the variable, and I end up with x equals 87 over 90. And now I can simplify this by dividing both top and bottom by 3. And I finally end up with 29 over 30, which is where we started on this magical adventure today. So your homework was to take this fraction, get it into decimal form, which was 0.96 with the repeating 6, and then take that and bring it all the way back through into fraction form. Bring that in tomorrow, please, for full points. Thank you very much.